Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
So, look, there is a huge mystery going on, and we're going to kind of pull the curtain back and tell you a little bit about this. But Mauricio Umansky and Kyle Richards have separated, but not in the way you think. When people normally separate, one person moves out and the other person...
Generally don't immediately go on vacation together.
Yeah, this is very different and very mysterious. So we're going to break this down, and we're going to tell you some things that we haven't even put in the website yet. But we're going to just kind of like open this up. So Kyle and Mauricio have been married for 27 years, and they seemed very tight. And I'm just going to you weren't here when this happened. I talked to somebody last week who is in the middle of all of this, and I was convinced that these rumors were not true. I'm just telling you, I'm a kind of a cynical guy when it comes to this stuff, and I can kind of, sense BS. I bought it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I bought it.
And also, these rumors, it came to a head this weekend, but they've been going on for a long time.
Well, but let me tell you what happened.
For a long time.
Let me tell you what happened. So what I found out was the person I spoke to said, look, they've been in Aspen together. They're going to Europe this summer together. It's BS. And I thought, well, that kind of says it, but it doesn't. It doesn't. They have separated without physically separating.
The Aspen trip happened, and they certainly seemed like a very happy family.
And this is this past weekend.
Right. Now, although they posted all these photos, and like you say, it does seem very idyllic.
They're posting these pictures together when they're separated.
But you could also say that they're posting it like everybody posts something because they want to project certain image.
like Kim Zolciak and Croy Berman.
Well,
what's interesting here, guys, is these rumors have been going on for about a week now that maybe there was something going on in their marriage. People were noticing things like Kyle was putting up Instagram posts for Mauricio, and it kind of gave more of a co-parenting vibe than a loving message from a wife. So there have been kind of hints throughout the last couple of weeks on their social media. What also is interesting is when the story broke over the last couple of days, they came out with a joint statement, and they made it clear that they're not divorcing.
Well, because there was a report that they were divorcing, and, and that they addressed.
So that's right.
That they addressed.
So let's look at some of that statement, because they do address the divorce. That's what they don't address. In regards to the news that came out about us today, any claims regarding us divorcing are untrue. However, yes, we have had a rough year. The most challenging one of our marriage, but we both love and respect each other tremendously. There has been no wrongdoing on anyone's part. Although we are in the public eye, we ask to be able to work through our issues privately. While it may be entertaining to speculate, please do not create false stories to fit a further salacious narrative.
And so this was in response to a story some media outlet did that they were getting divorced. What they didn't address, although they kind of addressed, is the separation. So
it seemed to me, it reads like an acknowledgement of some sort of separation is happening, but at the same time, you're seeing them still vacationing together.
And so, look, what I thought initially was, well, look, they do have one 15-year-old, one kid that's underage, and maybe they're doing it for the kid, but that doesn't really make sense. No. Most of their kids are in their 20s and one in their 30s. So it seems like whatever they're working through, they are trying to do it together, but somehow they've defined separation differently than the conventional way. I will say one other thing, which is I'm older than dirt, and I've been in this town for a long time, and because of that, I know a lot of people. And I called people who are usually responsive, and they get back and whatnot, and I called a slew of them late last week. I did not get a single response, not a single reply,
no reply,
to this day. And what it tells me is
something is definitely happening, and they're not ready to say
precisely.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Hello, my name is Shelly Sweets, and I'm from Stone Mountain. And actually, here we have again a case of functional dysfunctioning. It's something that we need to acknowledge. 27 years is a long time. We have no idea what marriage actually takes, a lot of us. So I'm not mad at them for private. I'm not mad at them for trying to work things out together, because, be honest, what is there really out here? They're going to be alone.
Okay, we got to move on.
Yes, because Jennifer Lopez is addressing her critics of her latest project, which is a booze line. It's a wine spritzer. And a lot of people saw that this launched and thought, wait a second.
Two problems.
This woman, Jennifer Lopez, speaks frequently about the fact that she does not drink.
And she doesn't look like she drinks.
And certainly doesn't look like it. Yeah, so why is she now launching a booze line? And then the other part is that her husband...
This is the bigger part.
Yeah, I think, and her husband
Ben Affleck, is...
Had issues with, he's gone to rehab.
He deals with alcoholism, and he has been to rehab, and he, is clean. At least as far as we know, he seems he looks great.
I would say this. That part of it, I would think that she's not launching this without having a conversation with him. So if they've had that conversation, he's okay with it, that doesn't really bother me. But if, as a fan, you've been telling me how you live this incredibly, clean lifestyle and don't drink, and now you're selling booze, well, Jennifer actually has heard these critics, and she addressed them squarely.
I know that a lot of people have been talking about, like, oh, she doesn't even drink. What's she doing, with a cocktail line? And to tell you the truth, that was true for a long time. I didn't drink. A few years back, as you will see from several photos of me out over the past 10, maybe 15 years, I have been, having the occasional cocktail. I do enjoy the occasional cocktail. I do drink responsibly. I don't drink to get I drink to be social and have a nice time and just kind of relax and let loose a bit, but always responsibly.
So I guess there's some news coming out of this, including the fact that J-Lo apparently does in fact drink. I haven't really kept tabs on how often or how much she has said, I don't drink. I know she kind of postures herself as like a clean, healthy person, etc. But I don't know how many times she's been like, I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. I really don't know. In any case, apparently she drinks. That's fine. Charles, I know you're saying that if her and Ben had the conversation, it should be okay as long as they're okay with it. But to me, I got to say, even if they did have the conversation, if the wife of an alcoholic, which she is, it's kind of troubling, is it not? It's like, okay, fine, you might say you're okay with it, but let's be real. You're battling with a disease. And I'm not saying you're going to get tempted here, but me peddling a product, you having alcohol, it doesn't look good. I think Harvey touched on this earlier in the morning meeting. The optics of this are quite bad, in my opinion.
See, I tend to go a little more on Fabian's side in terms of the more serious issue, because look, Ben Affleck may well have signed off on it, but for a lot of people who are watching, because look, she is selling something right now, so everybody's making judgments based on what she's selling. One judgment is, if she doesn't drink much, how can she make this? On the other judgment is, there are a lot of people in this country who deal either with alcoholism themselves or with a family member or a friend who has had it, and one of the things that you learn is you try to keep it away. And I'm not saying she's done anything wrong. I'm just saying people are making judgments.
But I don't think it's an unfair judgment to say across the board that's the way it is. I know people who are alcoholics, and they don't mind being around friends they're fine with it. And by the way, you don't think that Ben Affleck encounters, she said she's been socially drinking for 10 to 15 years. Well, they've been together during that time. They've spoken to each other. They've been around each other. So obviously, she probably does have a drink every now and then around him. Do you think?
Well, part of that 10 to 15 years was when Jennifer Garner took him to a rehab facility in Malibu.
Right.
So look, and good on Ben that he's doing well, which is great. And I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that when she puts herself out there selling a product like this, people are going to make judgments. And I think what Fabian said is some criticism that she's getting on that site.
Her and her team probably should have thought this one through a little bit more. But anyway, the brand's out there. It's a spritzer, Dololol or something. I don't know. It's out there if you want to take a drink. So there you go.
I'm Kyla Coleman, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So, yes, I agree with you guys' position that, she's not a guru with alcohol. Also, she's married to somebody who has dealt extensively with alcoholism. I don't understand why Jennifer Lopez's team didn't just venture into the mocktail realm. I mean, this would seem like it would be a better fit for her. It's non-alcoholic. It can be healthy. And honestly, if she looks at the trends, a lot of millennials, although Jennifer is not a millennial, but a lot of us are opting for non-alcoholic beverages. And we are looking for something healthy to do, even though we are going to be out socially drinking. It's good to have a mocktail.
Yeah, but you know what part of it is, honestly?
Big money. There's a lot more money. I understand that there is a mocktail market. It's not as big as the alcohol market.
Absolutely. Okay, taking a break.
All right, when we come back, actually, we're going to see Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck out at a party together where I'm sure there was alcohol.
Tons.
But there was also the greatest assemblage of A-list stars I think we've seen at any party. Who threw the party? You will find out when we come back. This 4th of July weekend was filled with all sorts of parties all around the world. The biggest one, without a doubt, happened in the Hamptons.
God, look at that
at
house.
That incredible mansion. About 330 people, and if there were 10 non-A-listers, I would be surprised if it was that much.
So this is Michael Rubin's house, the former owner of the 76ers,
The current
mogul,
owner, Fanatics, mogul,
and
very charitable guy
real
too,
charitable guy, amazing guy. This is a must for A-list celebrities, apparently, and you will not believe just the link, the list is unbelievable.
Leo, no hat.
Leo, no
you had
hat.
Leo with no hat. When was the last time we've seen Leo outside of a movie in real life without a hat on?
He goes to all the hottest clubs around LA, Paris, New York with hats on and a mask on, and he showed none of that at this party. But anybody who was anybody was at this party this weekend. They were all wearing white. You got the hottest celebrities in, the basketball world or, in the sports world, and then you have models, you have movie stars.
Everyone in the music.
Let's tick them off.
I mean, yeah, you just saw a bunch of them. Kim Kardashian, you had Jay-Z, Beyonce, DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled, J-Lo, and Ben.
You had Kevin Hart. You have
Usher performed. Jack Harlow performed. Meek performed.
You got Biebers. You got so many people in there. It's kind of hard to name them all when they're going so fast on the screen right now.
21
But
Savage,
anyone who is
Drewski,
anyone.
Jack Harlow, yeah. It's
so
amazing. Now
I actually talked to somebody. I didn't even tell you this yet. I was on the phone with somebody about a half hour ago who went to the party. It turned out, and I didn't even talk to him about that. But he went to the party. So he said, and this person has been around. I mean, has been to a bunch of these. He said, I stayed like an hour and a half. He said, it was just, he said everybody was getting drunk and he wasn't into it. And it's kind of like this thing where you're talking to somebody like this, but you're looking over there to see if there's somebody bigger. Even though everybody...
Right, because you can't help but your eye has to be drawn to, oh, that is a huge, even for people who are celebrities themselves.
Right. So it was,
especially when they see someone in a different, industry, like, I don't know, Tom Brady was walking
music,
through the room.
Tom Brady,
how is it not going to catch your eye?
And apparently Tom Brady talked to everybody, but it was sort of like the way it was put to me was like distracted conversations. That you're talking to somebody, but you're also looking around at the next move you're making.
But the thing is that you don't often hear and see celebrities at this level when they go to these parties gushing about it. I read on social media so many of them, including Tom Brady, gushing about this party that Michael Rubin put on.
Because they want to come, they want to be invited to the next.
Maybe that's it. They want to be invited to the next one.
It's like the thing.
But they just love being there. And by the way, we should say Michael Rubin, who we've had on the show, who is very open about talking about his charitable efforts and, things that are really helping people that he and his organization do, couldn't get an answer as far as coming on to talk about this. And maybe that's why people love it, is that he doesn't talk about the parties.
Yeah.
Because we've seen him put on these parties before, and the guest list is just getting bigger and bigger.
I will say, I go through a lot of photos and videos here at TMZ, and I've seen a bunch of parties, and the only one that is actually comparable to this one is the Rock Nation brunch that gets put on every year as well.
Yeah.
But this is one of the biggest parties that everyone, every single year, they don't miss.
Yeah, I got to say, Nikki, even that, I've never seen anything quite like this. This one in particular, I couldn't. And also the breadth of celebrities that it's acting and music and just.
There's one for you, Reagan. There's a Philly shot. Big time Philly shot. Yeah, I gotta say. Also, nice house he's got there.
God, what
nice little place.
Gorgeous house.
Hey guys, it's Coco Louie coming to you live from Washington, D.C. And I'm chiming in on Michael Rubin's infamous party. I mean, from the look you can see in the small recap video, it's super lit. Again, everybody knows about this party. And I'm just gonna say, my invitation got lost in the mail somehow. Maybe the dress. Hopefully, I'm there. I would love to be there. But it looks like a good time.
And also, I got to say, the way they filmed this, it's like watching a movie almost. That it's just so professional.
Well, if you put on a party like that, I'm sure you have very
I guess you do.
professional.
Except nobody could go into the second bedroom. They said the door was locked. I'm kidding. Okay, we're moving on.
Yes, to Adele, who is addressing the situation
I like this.
that a lot of artists have found themselves in lately, with weird things, dangerous things.
BB
being
Rexa
thrown.
getting beamed by a cell phone, having to get stitches, stop her show.
On the more bizarre end of things, Pink having a fan throw her mother's ashes onto the stage.
So this
Adele is performing in Vegas.
And this is a thing now. I mean, this is happening in a lot of concerts.
And I'd imagine if you're an artist like Adele who's performing in Vegas, where, let's face it, most of the guests tend to be out partying a lot during the weekend.
Are you suggesting they're drinking before going to the concert?
I'm saying if you were performing in Vegas, you would really be on the lookout for people throwing things. And Adele, clearly it is on her mind because during her residency show this weekend, this is what she said about the danger to artists.
Have you noticed how people are like forgetting etiquette at the moment? People are throwing on stage. Have you seen that? Dare you? Dare you throw something at me? Stop throwing things at the artist, but you can shoot things at people. This is total reverse. I think I've got to go back over and give my t-shirt from back.
Honestly, kudos to Adele for standing up against all these people throwing things on stage because it has gotten out of control. People have gotten injured, and a lot of artists actually like engage with this. Like Harry Styles, he'll like see something come up on the stage and he'll like chat with people about it, or even like Lil Nas X. So it's good to see somebody actually drawing the line in the sand and saying like, "Hey guys, this is not cool, and I'll kill you."
Well, then again, and then again, she says that, and then immediately fires a t-shirt gun into the crowd. So it's like turnabout is not.
But there's also a difference between
things.
Right, right. But I will say, I have become an Adele fan.
Now you hear how she speaks.
Because she's fun. And it feels like these concerts have gotten more interesting because, look, people go to Vegas and they have these wildly successful residencies, but nobody talks about them outside Vegas. And at a point you think, oh, remember so-and-so? She was really big. She has a residency. Adele is saying stuff now at her concerts that is making news, and she did it last week.
Yeah.
Even just talking about Vanderpump Rules, and people are talking about it. So it sort of keeps her in the zeitgeist, which I just think is a really interesting play.
Hi, I'm Deontay from Detroit, and kudos to Adele for standing up for this thing because it's gotten out of control. Like you said, people have gotten hurt from this. Adele goes gangster. There's a headline for you. All she needed to do was throw in a little crip walk right there before she shot the gun. I would have set it off right there.
There you go. Oh, you got it. Okay.
I bet you she does crip walk.
we are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, white lines in the White House, referring to cocaine that was found in the West Wing, in an area not far from where the president sits. How in the world could this have happened? We're going to be joined by an expert on the Secret Service, knows the ins and outs of the security measures that go on there in the White House. Will there be changes? Maybe the most shocking news out of the White House in many years, and that's saying a lot because we know what happens at the White House.
White House so white.
Is very, very white, as in cocaine white. Cocaine found in the White House, in a part of the West Wing.
In the West Wing, folks.
And there was an initial test done that said, yeah, we think it's cocaine, and now they've done a second test. They've confirmed it was cocaine, and everyone is wondering how in the world this could happen. How could such a security lapse, whoever brought it in there, how did they get it in? And then, well,
and who did it?
Obviously, they left it. But who is this person?
And who is the person?
And what are they going to do to track down that person?
Right.
Well, one person who has a good idea because he has been in the White House, Ronald Kessler, who's now an author, written some very popular books in the President's Secret Service and the First Family Detail.
I have read both books. They are fabulous, I will say.
Well,
fabulous.
Ronald Kessler, welcome to TMZ Live. How you doing?
Thank you so much.
Ron, you got to start with how on earth something like I've been there, and I know that you have to go through 2 areas of security before you can get to this holding area, and that's where they found the cocaine in the West Wing, where the president sits. How could something like this happen?
Well, it's not that difficult because there are magnetometers that detect weapons and metallic objects when you go in the White House, but they would not detect cocaine. On the other hand, it will be a very simple matter to determine who did this, who left it, because the entire West Wing is totally covered by video cameras that are time-stamped. Every single inch is covered by video cameras. So there's absolutely no question that they'll be able to pinpoint who left it.
Ron, I get what you're saying, that that they're checking for metals and things like that. So someone could have this in a pocket of a jacket, in the pocket of the pants, because not everyone is frisked or anything, right? So is it different for staff who are at the White House as opposed to guests, or do they get the same exact check?
Staff may not have to go through all the procedures. They have a separate entrance and separate passes, but either way, they wouldn't be looking for this kind of thing. They're not, they're not trying to figure out what people are bringing in as long as they're not threats.
Ron, it has to be a guest, right? Because the staff, like you said, A, they don't go through that door, and B, they're not in a holding area. They go to their offices. So it would seem, wouldn't it to you, and I realize you're saying that they're going to figure it out, the die's cast because of the cameras, but it would seem that it's a guest, right?
Yeah, it's still possible that the staffer might use that phone because it's convenient. But yeah, more likely a guest. And even Hunter Biden is possible because even though he would be staying in the residence portion, he might have had some reason to go into the West Wing for some administrative reason related to his travel. So I wouldn't rule him out. It's also possible someone is trying to set someone up with this kind of thing. I'm sure the FBI is involved in the investigation as well. And I think we'll get the answers pretty quickly.
We should just add a fairness that there is no evidence at all that Hunter Biden was the culprit here, but he was at the White House. So.
I will say the finger certainly should point more towards a guest because the staff who work in the White House know that there are cameras everywhere. So one, you're not going to risk your job.
Everybody must realize.
But a guest who comes in doesn't know where the cameras are, isn't thinking that. Again, whoever it is, probably didn't mean to leave it in the White House.
But Ron, what you're saying is it's possible that somebody set somebody up as well, right?
Yeah, I think anything is possible, including that it's a staffer, because even though, as you say, logically they would realize that they're on camera all the time, that doesn't mean that someone who's doing something nefarious thinks of all these things, and so really anything is possible.
So. Do you think there's going to be any change? I mean, I hear what you're saying, that they do have those magnetometers, which wouldn't detect baggie and drugs. Does this kind of change things where they're going to do more frisking, or do you think they're just going to say, look, this is a one-off, and we're just going to do it the same way?
Yeah, it was not an actual threat to the president or anyone else, and so there's no reason to change procedures.
It just occurred to me, and I don't want to put this out there but if they're not checking people's pockets, I mean, in this case, it was cocaine, but what if it were something else? What if it were, God forbid, anthrax that's in a little pouch that someone brings into the White House?
It's actually a really good point.
Why wouldn't they be checking people's pockets?
That's a very good point. The fact is they don't. I'm sure you know when you go in the White House, you're not checked that thoroughly, and perhaps that will be something that should be changed.
Charles, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean,
wow, Ron, we really appreciate the time, and again, I just got to say, I love your books. I really do.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work, Ron.
Yeah,
that's what
please.
he's saying. Thanks so much.
By the way, you know what I was thinking? What we haven't heard is, with the fentanyl problem, I wonder if they're testing this for fentanyl.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to test it for everything.
Wow. Okay, we're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, Cardi B and Offset, their marriage on the rocks, at least according to him, and a lot of back and forth on social media. Well, guess what? They were hand in hand, arm in arm at a Balenciaga show. So everything's hunky-dory again? Well, we'll see what they're saying. Welcome back to TMZ Live. We talked a lot about relationships on the rocks. One that certainly seemed to be on the rocks. Cardi B and Offset, on the rocks again, I should say.
Right.
He accused her of cheating in some very colorful language. And
she fired right back at him.
Said that
big way.
Yeah, said that's not the case, and I'll hit him with a bottle if he ever says this stuff in front of my face.
So this was all very public. They were doing this all on social media.
And so we thought, here we go again.
Like, okay, divorce court.
And yet, much like, I guess, Kyle and Mauricio, they were out together.
Well, on this one, fool me 5 times, shame on me.
Right, exactly. But they not only out together, but looking very lovey-dovey, just all over each other in Paris.
This is the way
at a
they roll.
Balenciaga show.
This is the way they roll.
Yeah, it's almost like things had gotten too cordial between the two of them because we didn't have any Cardi or Offset beef for a while. Remember, they were always having issues, and they've been getting along totally fine lately. So I think they needed just a little hiccup, and now they're back on track.
It's just so weird that he went out and said that and accused her publicly.
Right.
And then, like, that would take some time to get over.
Remember, the first time when she actually filed, I believe,
filed the divorce.
She made the same allegation against him.
Right.
And so it's just, people, it's really funny because, everybody thinks relationships are one size fits all. They are not. And sometimes everybody kind of lives in between the lines and there's never, that kind of fury. And then sometimes there's passion and fury, and it's this way, not this way, and it seems like this is their life.
Yeah, and they seem very successful at living their marriage and their lives that way.
It's like a roller coaster.
It's working for them.
It works for them, and that, again, it doesn't work for everybody, but you can't project and say, how on earth can it be this dysfunctional? That's the functionality of their relationship.
Eric from San Francisco. First, I just can't get over the fact that Offset looks like Marlon Wayans from Don't Be a Menace. But second of all, maybe they patched things up, but maybe they also didn't. Maybe they got tired, looked at each other and said, babe, this event has beef Wellington and couscous. Let's go make an appearance, and we'll get back to things a little bit later. But are you going to be annoyed with each other in hoodies?
I'm just looking at the photos of them. Like, it takes a lot of work to also go to something like that together.
Right. You know what? I got to say, what he just said?
The beef Wellington.
Beef Wellington used to be a thing. It hasn't been a thing in a long time.
I don't know that it was a thing at this
It was a thing a long time ago. Okay, we're moving on.
Yes, to the end of an era for Lisa Vanderpump, which we knew was going to happen, but it was still a big occasion as her restaurant Pump closed this weekend. And
you wonder why on earth would a restaurant like that close when it's now the hottest reality show in town?
Because
and
even though it is, it still deals with the same issues every other business in America has.
Can I do the quote?
Please.
The rent is too damn high.
That rent is too high, yes. Their rent on that place, Lisa told us, was approaching like $1 million
a year.
So,
not a month.
I mean, yes, a year.
A year.
So had to close down. But Lisa, they had an event, obviously, for the last night. And Lisa talked to her fans and her employees about what's next.
We're opening another restaurant in Lake Tahoe called Five Hours. We have our restaurants in Las Vegas, we have Tom Tom and Sir. So hopefully we'll continue to still feel the love from all of you. There's been so many moments over the years, as we've supported Pride, moments that will forever be etched in our mind. Amazing support that you've shown us, but we've also shown the LGBTQ community.
This is so sad that Pump is closing. For years, Lisa Vanderpump has had the best bars on WeHo Street. You just hop down from
you
Sir.
should know.
I was so bummed I couldn't go. Me and my friends tried to go. It was so hard to get a reservation.
Oh, but we know where you were.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We don't need to get into that, Charles. But there was like
that was
three
Harvey.
people deep.
I didn't say that. I ain't saying a thing.
We're not getting into any of that. But there was like 3 people deep behind the bar. It was so like hard to get a drink. They were actually filming season 11 there. So this is just like a perfect another opportunity for Lisa Vanderpump, and she is just outstanding.
Just like Courtney said, it was so packed inside.
You were there, right?
Yes, I was there. It was.
Oh, why were you talking to Courtney? Brendan, I want to hear what was going on in there.
It was hard to get a drink. I mean, they were down to the point where they were trying to get rid of anything in the bar. Like all the refrigerators behind the bar were like empty. There was only like a couple of champagne bottles left, which I'm sure and hope that the bartenders drank up before they left for the night. It's such a great venue, and to see it go is sad, but Lisa's got plenty of other things in the works.
Well, she's got 2 restaurants.
I knew about the Vegas one. I didn't know about Tahoe.
2 in Vegas. She's got 2 new ones in Vegas and one in Tahoe. I want to say something. Lisa Vanderpump is extraordinary. And we've covered a lot of people in this town. And I remember when Real Housewives of Beverly Hills first started, and I didn't know who Lisa was. And I have watched her over the years, you know, because a lot of people are on these housewife shows and they're not able to do, you know, pivot to the next thing. She has done it so brilliantly with her husband, Ken.
Multiple times, and not just restaurants.
Absolutely.
The things that she has built.
And to see what she's built an empire, but she's also been so incredibly charitable with dogs and with rescues and with LGBTQ issues. And she's just, I don't know, I just love the way she's balanced her life and how successful she is. And she's such a good business person and such a good person. I just, you know, we don't say this a lot, you know, just because we're usually covering the news and there's never an opportunity. I just want to say that about her because she's really an exceptional human being.
Hey, Ricardo from Brazil. I have a theory, actually. I think she let Pump to die, you know? And like I heard there were licensing troubles, you know, earlier this year. And I guess it was more profitable to let it die, you know, because she's shifting her business to Las Vegas.
But I mean, you're right. No, he's right in a certain extent. It was more profitable to let it die because the rent was too high.
Right, but you couldn't make it profitable.
Right, you can't make it profitable.
But
so
they've had
the smart thing is to walk away instead of throwing more money in it.
Yeah, you just couldn't do it.
You walk away and you open these other places where I'm sure they're getting a much better deal for rent, and they're going to have incredible.
Yeah, because Vegas is so low rent.
Right. Well, but you're also going to have a lot more.
I know.
Foot
Do you
traffic.
know how many restaurants they've had? 37 restaurants between Lisa and Ken. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, taking a break.
All right. So when we come back, the battle to end it all: Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. There is a new chapter in this saga. This one isn't in the octagon just yet,
but it may be why they're going into the octagon.
Exactly why they're ending up there. As we all anxiously await that first footage of Mark Zuckerberg actually in an octagon training and Elon Musk in an octagon training.
I don't think they train in an octagon.
You should. Why not?
I think.
Why wouldn't you spar in an octagon? Anyway, they're not fighting yet physically, but they are going back and forth at each other. Even more online, and this time it has to do. Actually, this was the thing that started the whole talk about a fight.
Yeah.
That Zuckerberg has now launched a new platform, which is clearly aiming at Twitter. It's called Threads, and it is live now. But immediately, once it launched, they took a shot at Elon Musk, and Elon has responded. So here's the shot that they fired at him. There were the way they described it is that Threads will be sanely run, as opposed to.
Well, they're clearly taking a shot at Elon, saying, and Elon fires back and says, "Oh, thank God." I just want to say something. This is the way two UFC fighters smack talk back and forth.
They pick
before
everything
a fight.
that they can to nitpick at them.
This feels just like more of the fight, and they're both in it. That's the way I'm viewing this.
I don't think you're wrong. Yeah, thank goodness they're so sanely run. That was the exact rebuttal from Elon. I agree. This is the trash talking going back and forth. I think if you weren't already excited for this fight, to see the guys just constantly kind of nipping at each other on social media.
It's just that the trash talk here is so
it's a little different,
nerdy.
Charles, than normal.
It's
like
a nerdy level of trash talk, right? I mean,
right? Like they're like, my $50 billion company is more sanely run than yours. That's normally not what the trash talk is, but it's still trash talk.
So look, I mean, we told you last week, we broke a lot of stories on this, that they are both dead serious about fighting each other. They want this, and they are going to do it. The big obstacle right now, because there's such a weight disparity and height disparity, that the UFC is going to have to get some kind of approval from the licensing commission. And it's unclear where that's going to be. We told you, and we stand by this, and we, by the way, know it's true, that the Minister of Culture the ministry's office got in touch
in Italy
with Mark Zuckerberg. It was passed on to Dana White, and they were talking about possibly holding a fight at the Coliseum. We published that story, and then they said, "Oh, TMZ, that's not true. We have nothing formal in writing."
Can you do that accent? Is that allowed?
I think I took 2 years of Italian, so I'm allowed to.
And you know what? These guys have continued to train. So over the weekend, you have Elon Musk, who was again with Lex Fridman, the popular podcaster and jiu-jitsu pro. He was with this guy, John Danaher, who was like the top jiu-jitsu guy in the world. and George St. Pierre, who, of course, had offered a few weeks back to train Elon Musk. And so the four of these guys were training over the weekend. This
so
is
I guess,
crazy.
back up. You know what I was thinking over the weekend? Is Elon going to go on a crash diet and slim down to make it?
Way.
Well, no,
but how
I don't
close
know.
could he get, though, Harv? Because, like we said,
he's
Mark Zuckerberg's
230.
only 145.
He's 230 right now.
Right, maybe he can get down to like 210, but Mark Zuckerberg, he's still a
still gonna be
small
way
guy.
No, I know, but at least if you have 200 versus 145, I mean, it's really
it's not as bad.
No, it's still not balanced.
But 230 is.
Yeah, it's not as bad as 85 or 90 pounds, but it's not great. I mean, you're like 10 pounds is normal.
But I guess the question is, does Mark Zuckerberg want Elon fit or overweight?
Good point. Right. There's an advantage to having that weight, but there's also a disadvantage.
Exactly.
I didn't think of that.
I should join the sports team.
No, let's not.
Hi, just Darky from Huntington Beach. I think more people are going to watch this fight on Twitter. I think that's where we're going to see things. Facebook is the past. Twitter has reshaped itself. It's the future. And Facebook, you are going to lose. Twitter will win.
I'm not sure. I think the jury is out on which is going to be bigger. You never know. I mean, don't discount Elon Musk. Do not discount this guy. This guy who
don't discount
with the
Zuckerberg.
I understand that, but with the Tesla, I mean, everybody thinks a lot of people think he's crazy. Tesla, SpaceX, he could do what NASA couldn't. Do not discount this guy.
Both things can be true. Could be crazy.
He could be a mad genius.
Incredibly successful.
Fair point. We're taking a break.
All right. When we come back, all you critics of Nepo babies, you're going to see it's not really easy for them.
You're just desserts, I guess you would say.
LeBron's son and Shaq's son go out to a big Hollywood event and get rejected on camera. We'll show you. Not since Tara Reid have we seen a more spectacular rejection of a celebrity on camera
that's a good callback.
Trying to enter a party. And it is really surprising because if your father is LeBron James and your father is Shaquille O'Neal, you would probably think, oh, I've got carte blanche here
Which
in
is
Hollywood,
what
right?
I think they thought. I think they thought exactly that. That we can get in, because there was Saweetie was having a big birthday party in Hollywood at Poppy, which is the big club there, a big club in town, and they're thinking, we can get into this.
Yeah, so Bronny and Sharif showed up with some friends, and they couldn't get in. They weren't on the list, and
they were
talk their way in.
They were also too young.
That's probably the bigger point.
Right, yeah, they were, well, Sharif is 23, so he would be able to get in, but Bronny is only 18 years old, and that's why we're told they were denied. There wasn't anything like they weren't big enough stars or big enough celebrities. For now, they're saying it was just because Bronny's 18.
So was Sharif, what I would like to know, was Sharif on the list, or did Sharif talk his way in, and then they're like, sorry, your buddy is, is underage? And he probably said, yeah, but my buddy's LeBron's son.
He was probably not going to leave Bronny, right?
Right, you can't leave
I'm not going
him.
to go in and leave my guy. We got to go together.
We're not going to be naive here. They knew how old Bronny was. They knew that it was 21 and over.
Sharif probably
so they
said,
felt that they could use the pull to get into the club, right?
Right. And, they had to turn tail.
Yeah, Saweetie is 30, and I'm probably pretty sure she
That's
doesn't
not
want to
the
hang out with
point.
18-year-olds too, so I don't know.
Well, no,
I don't think that was
That's
the
not
point.
exactly what.
Saweetie probably never even knew any of this was happening.
Oh, my God.
Hi, this is Isaiah calling from West Philadelphia. I have a message for LeBron, for Bronny James, and for Sharif O'Neal. You guys have enough time to get into as many parties as you want. You should spend this time worrying about college, girls, they'll come, all that stuff will come within time. But parties, trying to get in there with 30-year-olds and people older than that, you guys can wait, man.
Well,
It'll happen.
I just got to ask you a quick question. Be honest. When you were around Bronny's age, did you try to get into a club you couldn't get in?
We actually got in.
He's like, yeah, the only difference is I got in.
That's funny. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Hey, it's Nikki in Southern Utah. Kyle and Mauricio are doing their best version of conscious uncoupling and setting themselves up for the next season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh, so you think this is staged?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great storyline.
I mean, it is a great storyline for the show, but it may also be a very real separation.
Yeah, I feel like this is real, but again, I was bamboozled on this one. One more.
What's up, everybody? This is Mo Lynch representing that Battle Creek, Michigan.
And I just want to say, celebrities got to get out of answering to social media every time a small group of people have a problem with whatever the celebrities are doing. J-Lo, do your thing. If you want to relaunch St. Ice Special Brew and name it Delola, do that, because I'm going to pick up a bottle too. Much success to your new drink. Your thing.
The man loves his wine spritzers, and he's not going to let anybody talk about it.
Are you really a spritzer guy?
Well, I'm more of a bourbon guy, you know.
But for J-Lo, you'll give it a shot.
Okay, we are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Michael Jordan finally speaking out on the one issue everybody wants to hear him speak about. Has nothing to do with basketball. Has to do with his son, Marcus Jordan, dating Larsa Pippen. How does MJ feel? You're going to hear it when we come back. Larsa Pippen and Marcus Jordan, Michael Jordan's son. We know they're together. They seem to be having a nice relationship. We've heard Scottie Pippen, we've attempted to talk to Scottie Pippen about.
He does not seem down with it.
He doesn't. He doesn't say much.
In case you don't know, that's
his ex-wife.
Larsa's ex-wife.
Right. So the whole thing here is that Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, while they won a lot of championships together with the Bulls,
do not like each other.
Yeah. We've never heard Michael Jordan's side of this relationship, what he thinks about his son being with Larsa. Well, he was asked this weekend in Paris, and he finally gave an answer.
Hey, Mr. Jordan, what do you think about Marcus and Larsa Pippen together? You approve of it? No. You don't approve? Do you think he's going to ask her to marry him?
That was an emphatic no. That was just
exactly.
That was an emphatic no.
Do you approve? No.
Can I tell you what's really weird about this to me? What's weird about this to me is that Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan don't agree on much.
Right.
But they agree on this.
Yes.
They both disapprove.
Maybe this will be the thing that allows them to have a true reunion and get back together.
Exactly. Okay, we will see you tomorrow.